Wild times.
Silverback gorilla versus polar bear.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
the environment is important here. It's where they're fighting.
No, taking that out of the equation. It's got to be neutral. We're just talking raw.
Okay, on Mars.
Yeah.
They're on Mars.
Sure.
Yeah. Holy shit.
It's a hell of a hard one. I've been thinking about it since I read it.
I was going to say, do you have a clear answer for us, or is this a tough one?
No, I got to talk through it. That's why I wanted to bring it up tonight. Because you're talking about, in my opinion, the two most badass creatures on the planet. Like, I don't think there's anything stronger, more dominant than a silverback gorilla, and I don't think there's anything more ferocious than a giant polar bear. I mean, it's insane.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we saw those polar bears trying to get into that fucking truck last week or the week before. Right. I mean, they are fucking ferocious. They are dedicated, persistent.
Let's assume these are two males, okay? The scales have been tipped literally for me because a male polar bear, typical weight would be around 950 pounds versus a male silverback gorilla, we're looking at about 350 pounds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So as scary as a fucking gorilla is, the polar bear is just so much fucking bigger.
But the strength ratio, that's the thing. You're right, Patrick, and I saw that. But the strength ratio, the gorilla is so much stronger than the polar bear. You know, but polar bears are strong, don't get me wrong, but the strength ratio of the gorilla, it's not like fighting a 300-pound guy. You know what I mean? Like you stack up with a 300-pound guy and it's like, yeah, okay, he's super strong. A 300-pound gorilla, I mean, it could probably, and I don't know this, but it could probably grab the polar bear arm from arm and rip it in two if it got that grab.
So let me throw this at you. Let me throw this piece of information at you. So I have a heavy bag in my garage, right? Mm-hmm. I wail on it.
Your fiance that way.
But when I use my heavy bag, right, I'm always punching as if I'm punching, kicking someone who's my height, right? As a meager 5'10" man. Mm-hmm. If I was
average size, yeah.
Right. Now, what may be interesting for you to learn is that a silverback gorilla, their average height is between 5 and about 5'10". Mm-hmm. A polar bear standing on two legs.
It's like 12. It's got to be 12 feet.
10 feet.
Yeah. It's right? Huge. Yeah. Huge. Massive.
I think about that sometimes when I'm working on my bag where I'm like, what are you going to do if you're fighting a guy who's 6'6"? You're going to be punching him in the chest.
Right.
So
you
guys,
lost.
Hold on. 100%. Let's visualize these two animals actually like starting this fight. What's going to happen? They run at each other.
Stand up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's ask Forrest because he actually knows. Versus our bullshit.
They're both going to. So they're going to start all quadrupeds, right? They're both going to be four legs. They're going to come to face off. Polar bear is going to rear up, that way it's got its front claws to use, it's got its teeth to use. Gorilla is going to
do those claws too. Big advantage with those fucking claws.
Wolverine,
Wait, I want to know what they're going to do. I want to picture.
Gorilla's going to rear up. He's going to thump his chest to go for dominance, and then they're literally just going to be these clash of the titans. Now you're right. One's going to stand 6 feet. The other's going to stand 10 feet. Right. One's going to outweigh the other big time. Like the gorilla. You're
talking more than half, more than double, double the weight.
The polar bear is going to tower over this gorilla. But again, and this is the only thing that's keeping me in this fight for the gorilla is the strength differential. And I don't think people quite understand. I'd have to look up like the amount of strength a gorilla is over a human being. But again, I feel like if this gorilla could, and I don't think it could, but if it could get the polar bear limb from limb, it could literally rip it, and maybe not like split it in half, but disjoint it, like literally shred it.
Right. Even if it could grab a fucking leg, dude, and break a leg. I mean, if it could gimp the polar bear,
if it gets
it could win.
Jaws, it will rip its face in half. Like, I mean,
dude, it will. They're
strong.
Vicious. And they're vicious as fuck.
And they're clever. Don't forget the mentality difference, right? Bears are super instinctual. Like, they're clever animals for sure, but not like gorillas. Yeah. I mean, gorillas, there's strategy when a gorilla is fighting. There is no strategy when a bear is fighting. Like, it's crazy, man. It's a tough one.
All right. Final answer, everybody.
Will, just so we know, Wild Times Willie has said on the chat, polar bears have claws, they win.
Okay. So WT Willie's final answer is polar bear.
So whoever chose polar bear among Chris's friends, you at least have the producer, Will. I'm going to go, because of what Forrest just said, and it made me think about when I delivered kegs for a living when I was 19. There was a guy who was much smaller than me, much older. His name was Washer.
Okay.
Because he had a green Mustang that he washed every single day outside the warehouse.
But a life.
Have you ever tried moving a keg full of beer?
Sure have.
Yes.
It's goddamn impossible.
It takes multiple people unless you're a gorilla, honestly.
Washer was literally 2/3 my size. He moved kegs. By the time I'd moved one, he'd moved 4 or 5. He just had this weird strength that made me think, even though this guy sits at the bar that we go to and eats a Domino's pizza alone at the bar every night, this guy could tear me to shreds.
Right?
I'm gonna go with the Silverback Gorilla. I think you're right.
Hell of a call.
Okay.
Peter?
All right. Well, since the the gorilla will not be fighting a keg, it will be fighting an animal that is more than twice its size. And like Will said, has claws, very sharp teeth, and literally will just instinctively, reflexively claw, bite, destroy, kill. I'm going polar bear, 100%. No question.
Okay. I'm torn, and I'll give my answer. Here's how I see the fight materializing, right? So we said they're both standing up, they're facing off, and they go in, Clash of the Titans. I see this gorilla going in with this massive blows and these big strikes. And honestly, one massive hammer fist to the skull of the polar bear is probably done. That's all it probably would take. But I think the polar bear is going to come around the top and sink those teeth into a cranium or a neck, or those claws sink in maybe through the back even. And I think that would be the damaging blow. So as my short answer is the polar bear wins by a very slim margin. I'm saying the polar bear wins 6 out of 10 times and the gorilla wins the rest. I think this one is a real close one.
Wild times.
So if you want more behind the scenes stuff that we cannot show on YouTube, Darwin Awards, video breakdowns and reviews, check out the Patreon. It's full of hours and hours of incredible exclusive content, stuff that you guys are gonna love. Swipe up, click the link, do the thing, come and hang out on Patreon. See you guys there.